Greetings, everybody. I am Lobo, and welcome to Luna. This is episode 216 of my Minecraft survival series, and today we are returning to the waterside district of our survival city. We are returning to the storage system upgrade project, and we're going to do something I've been very hesitant to do. Today, we are going to begin the redstone on our new storage system. Well, I did say that, didn't I? I did say that. I did just say that and commit myself to this. Okay, well, since we're committed to it, the next question we need to answer is, where do we start? Okay, I have an idea. I think I know where we're going to start. So instead of working on the big redstone for the storage system, we're going to ease into it. Let's ease into it by building up our ore smelter right here, because this will serve us well in building up the storage system, because we need lots of iron smelted up for lots of hoppers, and our actual big smelter, Luna's Forge, is all the way on the other side of Luna, probably unloaded from where we currently are, and we do want this iron smelting. We do want it easily accessible while we're working, right? So maybe this is where we'll start. Now, we've built smelters in the past, and we're not going to be deviating too far from the standard design here. We don't need something fancy. We just need something that's going to work, right? So let me go ahead and start getting this thing put together. Now, the only real big change between this and the other smelters we have is that we're going to be using blast... Owie! How dare you, sir? How dare you? How dare you also? Now, as I was saying, we're going to be using blast furnaces since we're only smelting ores here. Another change we're going to make is that we're going to tie our fuel input system into the storage system for our coal. We're going to be using coal for our smelting, and we have this right next to our coal storage. So, yay for convenience. Now, let me go ahead and explain this fuel system just so you guys know how it works in conjunction with our coal storage right here. These blast furnaces will be powered by coal. This is the manual input for our coal. We put regular coal in here. It filters into these hoppers towards the chest, right? So basically what it's going to do is filter first into each one of the blast furnaces using this hopper in the back, our fuel hopper right here, right? And then once each of the blast furnaces is full, the coal will continue on this way and actually go down and start inputting into the chests, specifically these bottom two chests right here, giving us easy access to any excess coal that's not being used to power the furnaces. And if we need any extra, we just come in here, grab some, and do whatever we want to do with it. Now, I'm not going to worry too much about making a real item distribution system for this. We'll just have a manual input into these droppers on top of the smelter right here. But let me go ahead and give you a quick rundown of how this is going to work. So we're going to take our coal, we're going to put it into our coal input right here. There will also be an automatic input connected to our storage system. But this coal is going to filter first into this first blast furnace, fill this up, the hopper behind it, and all these up eventually. And we have tons of coal to make sure that actually does happen, that all the furnaces get filled up. Then we can take whatever we're going to smelt up, we can just break it down into its individual ores. In this case, we're going to be using iron, and then we can just throw that iron straight into the dropper over top. And as you can see, that first furnace is now on. And we should see iron pouring into here. Great, so we know everything is now working. But I do need to go ahead and load up the rest of these and get the rest of these fueled. So I'm going to go ahead and take care of that, and I'll be back with you guys in just a few. And there we go. The iron is going in. The iron is coming out. You can see our rates right there. Pretty decent for what we got going on here. Our fuel is slowly filtering in. It will eventually make its way over here once all the furnaces are full, and I can input the rest of my raw iron in here. And then it's just a matter of waiting for it all to get smelted up, right? So we can probably just step away from this a little bit, come back a little bit later, and claim our iron from the chest right here. Yeah, easy. Too easy, in fact. Moving on! I think I am now ready to begin talking about the redstone for our storage system. So this storage system is going to consist of three distinct parts. We're going to have a combination of bulk and multi-item sorted storage up here for the stuff I use most frequently. Downstairs in the caves, we're going to have our bulk storage down where the bulk storage actually already is, and then over on the opposite side of the waterside district, we'll have our overflow storage, right? Now, as I told you guys before, we're going to work on this storage system section by section, and within each of those sections, we're going to have subsections, so we're going to work on a subsection of this section today, specifically the bulk storage aspect of this bulk and multi-item sorted section of our storage system, right? Does that make sense? Probably not. Probably not with the way I explain stuff, and that's why I'm not going to explain the redstone as I'm doing it. I'm thinking it might be a better idea to just go ahead and get it in place, and then come back and explain this later with some visual aids once it's hopefully working the way we want it to. So at this point, I think it might be a good idea to go ahead and call DD on over, put on a little bit of music, and get to work. Wait, what? Yeah, the corruption. I remember the corruption. I've been trying not to think about it. You know, that whole out of sight, out of mind thing. What's going on with the corruption? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I thought you had this handled. Wolfred, I thought you were going to take care of this. No? That's a no? Okay. Dee, listen, we're gonna have to put this time lapse on hold. I'm sorry I got you over here and put you up there, but Wolfred needs to see us over at Wolfen's lab, so just, you know, meet me over there, I guess.
This new data is alarming. According to this analysis, if the corruption continues to spread at its current rate, it will overtake Luna completely in a matter of months. Given the current atmospheric composition and rising sulfur levels detected as far away as the Eclipse outpost, it will not be long before the entire world is consumed by it.
Okay. I mean, obviously, that's a bad thing. But I mean, what am I? What's my role? What am I supposed to do about this?
Mr. Wolfens proposes that Wolfen's labs will continue to search for a way to eradicate the corruption, though their efforts have proven fruitless thus far. If they are able to stop or, at the very least, slow the spread, it would be prudent to employ such countermeasures as quickly and as thoroughly as possible. You have proven yourself adept at exposing corruption. Mr. Wolfens asks that you continue to do so that these countermeasures can be deployed as soon as they are developed.
Yeah. All right. Well, yeah, I mean, this is important, right? This is important, and I need to do my part, so I'll go expose corruption, I guess?
Oh, no. I really should have just killed him when I had the chance.
Did you guys hear something? Okay, change of plan, guys. We're not going to work on the storage system yet. I do still want to get around to that in today's episode, but some important things have been brought to my attention that require my attention, and we need to pay attention to these very important things, and these things have to do with the corruption that's been plaguing our city. Now, Wolfen's lab seems to think that the source of the corruption is right here, where, you know, we exposed corruption in the past. And they have asked me to expose more corruption so that way it can be eradicated, you know, once they find a way to actually do that. So I was thinking this might be a good place to look for that corruption. I was thinking we might try to follow the Netherworm's path from here over to the Wormtail site, and see if we can unearth any additional corruption that Wolfen's labs will hopefully be able to take care of at some point in the very near future. Hopefully. So at this point, maybe it'd be a good idea to go ahead and call DD over here then, put on a little bit of music, and just get started digging. I mean, we got to clear this area out anyway, right? We're going to be deepening the waters anyway. So, I mean, that seems like a good way to get 2 giggles from 1 tickle. It's efficient. Let's do it. Welcome back, everybody. So, good news. Doubly good news, in fact. First piece of news, we've deepened some of the waters here surrounding Luna. I mean, obviously, there's a lot more waters that will need to be deepened, but we will get around to all this stuff eventually. And we will get around to kind of farming the land underwater and dressing it up and making it look all nice and pretty, but that's for another time, you know? That's for another time. The other piece of good news, aside from unearthing a minor silverfish infestation, no sign of corruption, no sign of anything unusual at all, actually, so, yeah. It couldn't have gone better. Maybe the corruption's not spreading as fast as Wolfen's Lab seems to think it is. So it's back to business as usual, right? So usually when we dig out a significant piece of land, I like to show you what we've gone through, what we've got. As far as what we've gone through, there you can see it right there, the tools that we've used to dig out that mess. And as far as what we've got from that, this is our incidental resources chest from today. As you can see, we plucked a decent amount of iron from the sea, so that will be useful in continuing our storage system project, which I am very much looking forward to getting into right about now. And as far as other stuff, well, I've just continued to add to this column of chests that we will eventually just input into the storage system. I think at least these last two rows, and maybe some of this top is from today. This is from, you know, clearing out this area previously. So it's all kind of jumbled up right now. But that's beside the point. So maybe before we move on, it would be a good idea to go ahead and get my kelp planted around here just to make sure we can convert all these water blocks within this area, make sure they're all source blocks, right, before we actually get around to really doing anything here. And, you know, I've gone and gave this place another quick once-over just to make sure there's no corruption, there's nothing that we're missing. Yeah, I don't see anything. So, you know what? I think we're good here. So let's get back to the storage system. As I said, this is going to be a combination bulk and multi-item sorted section. And as far as the bulk section goes, what we're working on today, that will consist of these top 4 chests in each of these columns. So we'll have oak right here, we'll have spruce, dark oak, birch, and so on. Now, as you can see, some of these chests will contain multiple types of blocks, but I'm considering it bulk storage just because it's going to consist of very few types of related blocks. You know, I'm just going to call it bulk for simplicity's sake, though it is technically multi-item, I guess. I don't know, it doesn't matter, does it? Let me just go ahead and get some of the redstone in place, and then we'll talk about it some more. Owie. Alright. Owie. Alright. We have the redstone in for the oak log and oak wood section of this storage unit as of right now. Let's go ahead and give that a test. So, I have some oak logs on me, I've got some oak wood on me, along with some other random stuff, which should just not make its way into the oak log and oak wood section. It should actually make its way into the spruce section since I don't have the redstone in behind that yet. So let's just go ahead and make sure this is working how we want it to work, right? So yeah, we're starting to see items come into here, great. And as far as our oak stuff goes, that belongs in here. So far, so good. And it seems like we're moving at a pretty good pace here. I just want to make sure everything is working as it should. I ended up giving these items a little bit of bouncy action by making this a little bit taller, just to make sure that, not for the bounces, of course, but to make sure that we only get one item flowing through these hoppers at a time. And this seems to be flowing at a pretty good rate because we're not getting anything past that first box, right? So let's go ahead and talk about the components that make up this system. So previously we built and discussed our item input right here. Basically items filtered down, they make their way to a stackable item filter, non-stackable item filter, where non-stackables are carried off while stackables are routed this way into the actual storage system. Now, once the items make their way up to the storage system, their first stop is going to be these bulk storage areas where we have some Impulse SV item filters, which as you can see are just perfect and dependable. Obviously, we only have them in the oak section, but perfect and dependable, and that's why we're going to roll with those for a lot of this storage system, actually. We'll talk about that later. But I'm going to sit here for a few minutes and just make sure that everything is working as it should, and I'll be back with you in just a few once all this stuff is, well, not flowing through the system anymore. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. Bouncy, 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 bouncy. Oh, and if you were wondering why we have 63 and 3 in here when we input 64 and 4 into our item input for the storage system, that's because these hoppers right here are going to be retaining a block, which is to be expected. So it's settled then. We're rolling with this. We're going to add a bulk storage solution to all the components of this surface storage system that will require bulk storage. And that includes not only this main section of the storage system, though this is my main focus, this will be the bulk of it. This will also include other sections of the storage system on the surface, including the redstone area over here. It will include the landscaping area, our ores, all that stuff. Now, we are not going to be getting our item transportation in from area to area today. I'm not worried about that because the items will have to pass through here twice. They'll go once through here for bulk storage, once through here for multi-item sorted storage. And we're not going to be working on the multi-item sorted stuff today because just getting the bulk storage solutions in here, that's going to be enough work for today, okay? So I just want to be clear on that. This is not going to be operational by the end of the episode. But you guys know what time it is. Now it's time to go ahead and call Dee on over here, put on a little bit of music, and get to work. Welcome back, everybody. We've got some redstone in. We've got our first bits of redstone in for this storage system now. Well, I guess technically that was with the item input. We got some more of the redstone in for this storage system now. And obviously it looks like some of these areas are messy, but keep in mind the ground here is 1 block lower than it's actually going to be, so you're not going to be able to see any of this once we actually build up some stuff here. This was planned for. Kind of. I've also made some plans in case we ever need to do maintenance. We have not only the fronts labeled, but also the backs labeled, in case I ever need to come in here and make any sudden repairs. I mean, this should be a maintenance-free system, but I don't know. Luna's just crazy sometimes. So let's say if we ever need to replace our basalt, we can just come back here, look and see basalt goes in here. Same thing goes for this. Same thing goes for pretty much everything. So, yeah, that's just a precaution. Because, you know, we got all this corruption mess going on right now. We've got that history of dimensional shifts. It's smart, I think, to take precautions when working on anything big like this. Now, while we can't test out this system in its entirety, we can test out at least the bulk storage component to this main section of the storage right here. So I've got some blocks that should get sorted into all these chests, but let me go ahead and grab another set of blocks that maybe don't quite go here, like the redstone ore. That should theoretically make its way to that dropper right there, being ready to send off into the next area, right? So that's how we'll go ahead and test this. Let me go ahead and input everything here, and we'll just make sure everything goes where it needs to go. I mean, this isn't the fastest storage system in the world, but it's going at a pretty good pace, quicker than the storage we got now, and everything does seem to be going where it's supposed to go. I'm trying to remember what types of blocks we put in here. I think we could put some diorite in there, right? We got our diorite that showed up. We put some calcite, some amethyst in here. You can see that's coming in now, which is great. Yeah, I mean, I'm glad it's working. I really am, but I don't know. I'm just thinking it could stand to be maybe a little bit flashier. And when I say it could stand to be flashier, I do mean that in the most literal sense. All right, well, we got our lights in, and we do have this indicator saying there's stuff in the dropper over here, which includes our redstone ore and a sign, which I don't remember putting in there. Interesting. But yeah, that stuff would go on to the next area where it needs to actually be put away, right? So let's go ahead and see what our lights do. We can put something in there and kind of track its progress now. For instance, this spruce right here. Once that starts making its way down through the storage input and over our water streams and up the elevator and eventually into the actual sorting system, we should be able to track that spruce's progress as it makes its way down into its area. Just like that, except for it is continuing onward, which is not desirable. Unless that's not our spruce. What is that? What are you, and why are you going that way? We might just have like a little backup in our storage system, like maybe one item that's getting caught up and it gets flushed out whenever we put new items in. That's a possibility. Yeah, our redstone. Did we put in 44 redstone before? If so, that's what it is. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine having an item on deck. So we did indeed put 44 redstone in there, and it is our stackable item filter that is retaining an item, which is perfectly fine. But now this is indeed a bit flashier with these lights that go and kind of signal where everything's getting put away or if this system is running. So that is going to be very useful and I think kind of a fun addition to this. A little bit silly, a little bit gaudy, but you know what? I like it. Good progress today, but I do think this is where we need to call it, so I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. If you did, please be sure to hit that little thumbs up button. That would mean a whole lot to me, and if you want to see more, please remember to subscribe. But as always, I just want to thank you guys for hanging out with me today. I deeply appreciate it. And until next time, I am Lobo, and I will see you guys later.